A dead pregnant woman was found in the home of a man wanted for killing a gas station clerk.
They discovered a deceased female on the floor in an advanced stage of decomposition.
31-year-old Tori Damian Moore, meanwhile, taken into custody and charged with murder for the death of 61-year-old Ayalew Wondimu.
On the chilly day of December 8, 2022, 61-year-old Ayalew Wondimu was working in the convenience store of a Shell gas station in Silver Spring, Maryland. Little did he know that the seemingly typical day would take a tragic turn. Wondimu got into an argument with a customer over a bottle of iced tea. At first, Wondimu perceived the conflict as a minor disagreement, not realizing the disaster that lay in store for him. Tragically, the situation escalated to a point where the customer resorted to using a firearm, fatally shooting Wondimu. However, this incident was far from being an open and shut case. The police, through further investigations, eventually arrived at the residence of the perpetrator. But what they discovered inside was beyond their worst expectations. Shockingly, another body was found in a state of advanced decomposition. What motivated the killer to commit such heinous acts? And who was this other person found inside the residence? Hello, and welcome back to M7 Crime Story Time, where we cover solved, unsolved, and twisted cases from around the world. Today, we'll be unraveling the disturbing murder case of Ayalew Wondimu and the woman found in the killer's apartment. But before we delve any further, please take the time to show your support by subscribing to our channel, liking our videos, and clicking on that notification bell to receive the latest videos straight to your inbox. Now, let's dive straight into the case. Silver Spring, Maryland, nestled in southeast Montgomery County, stands as a vibrant urban district that lies in close proximity to the bustling metropolis of Washington, D.C. Over the years, Silver Spring has experienced a renaissance, attracting a diverse tapestry of individuals and fostering a vast array of perspectives. Silver Spring also boasts a thriving downtown area, a robust job market, a multicultural population, and an abundance of exceptional dining establishments. However, it's not without its drawbacks. Residents often contend with lengthy transportation routes and a high cost of living. While it is true that the area experiences a higher rate of property crime, when considering the population as a whole, the incidence of violent crime remains relatively low at just 2.28 per 1,000 residents. However, even in this seemingly tranquil town, a chilling murder has left its mark. Ayalew Wondimu, born on November 2, 1961, hailed from the African nation of Ethiopia. While much of Wondimu's personal history remains undisclosed, it is known that he was a devoted husband. In 1997, he got married in Ethiopia, and 5 years later, in 2002, he and his spouse embarked on a new chapter in their lives by moving to the United States.
Before we move forward, we'd like to thank our sponsor of today's video, Incogni. In a world where cyber threats loom large, where your personal information is constantly at risk, and your online activities are under surveillance, one thing is clear: the world is not safe. But worry not, Incogni is your key to unlocking a world of safety and anonymity away from data brokers. Your personal data is becoming the new currency, and data brokers thrive on trading. Incogni believes your data belongs to you, not to be bought, sold, or exploited. When you create an account and choose Incogni, you gain an army of experts ready to take on data brokers on your behalf. Incogni confronts them and demands the removal of your personal information from their databases. You don't have to wait for years to have your data removed, when Incogni can make it happen on your behalf. Say goodbye to invasive ads and unwanted solicitations, and take the first step towards your online freedom with Incogni. The first 100 people to use our code M7Crime will get 60% off Incogni. Check out the link in the description and make worry-free browsing your new reality.
Leaving behind his siblings in Ethiopia, Wondimu embraced the opportunities that awaited him in America. He secured employment at the Dash Inn convenience store located within the Shell gas station at 11150 New Hampshire Avenue in Silver Spring, Maryland. A deeply religious man, Wondimu devoted much of his time to the Tewaldo Church of the Ethiopian Orthodox. According to Kesis Nehemiah Getu, the priest of the church, Wondimu was characterized by his kind-hearted nature and unwavering spirituality. His faith played a vital role in shaping his character and guiding his actions. Wondimu was 61 years old on December 8, 2022, and he was planning to quit his job at the convenience store to welcome a new phase in life, where he planned on spending more time with his lovely wife and devote his time to the church. That fateful day was meant to be his final day at work. However, what should have been a day of excitement for the future turned into an unimaginable nightmare for Wondimu, as well as his entire family. On December 8, 2022, Wondimu found himself engrossed in his usual routine at the Dash-In convenience store. The day appeared to be like any other, unremarkable and mundane, until the arrival of a man at precisely 2:58 p.m. This customer, appearing to be in his early 30s, picked up a bottle of iced tea from the shelves and walked towards the counter. Unfortunately for Wondimu, this seemingly typical encounter would take a sinister turn. Approaching the cash register, the customer's demeanor shifted as he initiated an argument with Wondimu over the bottle of iced tea. What started as a minor disagreement rapidly escalated into a full-blown confrontation. The atmosphere grew tense, and the customer, in a fit of rage, began grabbing items from the counter, hurling them towards Wondimu. Desperate to defend himself, he reached behind the counter and seized a metal pole and swung it in the man's direction. In an attempt to create distance, the customer instinctively took a step back, his intention seemingly to protect himself from Wondimu's swing. However, what happened next would seal Wondimu's tragic fate. In a shocking twist, the customer swiftly reached into his front vest pocket, revealing a loaded handgun. He aimed the silver weapon at Wondimu, firing a single shot at point-blank range. The bullet struck Wondimu's chest, causing him to collapse. But for the deranged assailant, this act of violence was not enough. He senselessly ascended the counter, closing the distance between himself and Wondimu's wounded body. Unleashing a barrage of gunfire, he fired multiple shots, ensuring that Wondimu was dead. He then got down from the counter, picked up his iced tea, and rushed out of the store, leaving behind Wondimu's blood-soaked body on the ground. At 3:03 p.m. on December 8, 2022, the police received an urgent call reporting the incident at the convenience store. Responding swiftly, they raced to the scene and discovered Ayalew Wondimu behind the counter, bearing multiple gunshot wounds to the chest. Their immediate priority was to assess his condition and administer life-saving measures. Tragically, it was already too late. Ayalew Wondimu had succumbed to his injuries. The authorities wasted no time launching a thorough investigation into the heinous crime. With the store's CCTV footage as the crucial piece of evidence, investigators thoroughly analyzed the video to piece together the sequence of events. Armed with this newfound understanding, they embarked on the search for the perpetrator. Gathering all available information, including witness testimonies, investigators were able to identify the suspect as 31-year-old Tori Damien Moore. With the evidence in hand, an arrest warrant was swiftly issued on December 9, 2022, charging Moore with first-degree murder and the use of a firearm during a violent crime. The surveillance footage also provided crucial information about Moore's escape route after fleeing the convenience store. As investigators dug deeper, they discovered that Moore was a resident of Silver Spring and lived in the Enclave Apartments, conveniently situated across the street from the Dash-In convenience store where Wondimu was killed. Acting on the obtained information, the SWAT team proceeded to execute a no-knock search warrant at Moore's apartment. With the no-knock search warrant, police do not need to knock before entering a home or place of business and are free to enter forcefully. They arrested Moore, who was at his residence, and a Jimenez-armed semi-automatic handgun was discovered. However, what they encountered next was a scene of unspeakable horror. Within the confines of the apartment, the SWAT members discovered the terrifying sight of a decomposing woman's body. The corpse, in an advanced state of decay, had deteriorated to such an extent that identification seemed nearly impossible. The state of the body was nearly mummified. Even the seasoned SWAT team members were shaken by the gruesome sight before them. The deceased woman's body was transferred to the Montgomery County office of the Chief Medical Examiner for a thorough autopsy. During his subsequent police interview, Moore admitted that the deceased woman found in his apartment was his girlfriend, Denise Middleton. Shockingly, he confessed to having killed her after a heated argument.
Discovered during the execution of the search warrant was the body of what appears to be a 26-year-old female who was 8 months pregnant.
Moore chillingly revealed that Denise was 8 months pregnant at the time of her tragic death. His apathetic confession hinted at a disturbing state of mind, raising questions about his mental stability. Once the murderer was in police custody, the authorities were determined to ensure that both Ayalew Wondimu and Denise Middleton received justice. However, before proceeding, they awaited the crucial autopsy report on Denise's body, which would provide further insights into the circumstances surrounding her untimely demise. Denise Jenna Middleton was born on March 14, 1996. She spent her childhood mostly with her cousin, Tempest Middleton, who considered Denise to be more like her own sister instead of a cousin. According to the Middleton family, Denise was a caring, humorous, and bright person.
When we heard how badly decomposed her body was, it was just unbelievable to believe.
From a young age, Denise exhibited a keen interest in makeup, hair, and cosmetics. Following her graduation, she pursued her passion by enrolling in a professional hairdressing school in 2021. In 2022, she relocated to Silver Spring, where she began a relationship with Tori Moore. The couple shared an apartment in the Enclave apartment complex, and Denise's life seemed to be flourishing. In the first half of the year, she joyfully discovered that she was expecting a baby boy, filling her heart with immense happiness. Denise, a devoutly religious young woman, had already chosen the name Ezekiel in honor of the archangel for her unborn child. Her future as a mother was brimming with anticipation and hope. However, her life took a devastating turn, transforming her dreams into ashes. Tragically, Denise was murdered by her partner, Tori Moore, resulting in the loss of both her life and the life growing inside her. Just days away from motherhood, fate cruelly intervened, snatching away the precious bond that Denise and her unborn child would have shared. The autopsy report revealed the horrifying details of Denise's murder. Shot 7 times with the same gun used to kill Ayalew Wondimu, she'd been deceased for over a month. The doctors estimated that her life was taken in October of that same year, extinguishing the bright future she'd envisioned for herself and her baby. The devastating loss was magnified by the knowledge that had Denise's life not been tragically cut short, her child would have had a chance of life if born just a few days earlier. Adding to the family's anguish, Denise was also robbed of the dignified funeral she deserved. Instead, her remains had to be cremated, amplifying the grief and pain her loved ones endured. Through interviews with residents of the Enclave apartment and Denise's family, the police gathered crucial information that shed light on Tori Moore's history and the disturbing circumstances surrounding the murder. Tempest Middleton, Denise's cousin, revealed that during their last conversation, Denise had mentioned being in New York, attempting to distance herself from Moore.
At the time, the last time we spoke to her, she was in New York.
Court documents further revealed that Moore was already wanted for an aggravated assault charge against Denise in Norfolk, Virginia. The violent incident highlighted Moore's propensity for aggression and raised serious concerns about his capacity for harm. Tempest expressed her astonishment at the lack of awareness among the Enclave apartment residents regarding the murder.
By them not having a way for people to report and them not following up on reports, we couldn't even have a visual of her body for our funeral. She had to be cremated.
Despite Denise being shot 7 times, there were no reports of gunshots or disturbances on the day of the crime. The apparent silence and lack of witness accounts perplexed and troubled Tempest, who questioned how such a horrific act could have occurred unnoticed by those living in such close proximity. Detectives investigating the case suspected that Moore had been cohabitating in the apartment with a decomposing body. Remarkably, there were no reports of anyone missing or any signs of trouble within the apartment.
It's scary because you never know who your neighbors are.
I'm speechless. I'm going to pray.
Furthermore, no complaints had been filed regarding any unusual odors emanating from Moore's residence. However, one of Moore's neighbors, Tony Pineda, revealed a chilling detail about an overwhelming stench that hit him as he stepped out of the elevator.
smells like trash or like, I don't know, it's a bad smell.
Neighbor Tony Panetta describing the unbearable stench that hits you as soon as you step off the elevator.
He likened the smell to that of decaying trash. Despite residing in the apartment complex for 2 years, Tony had remained unaware of the presence of a decomposing woman's body just down the hall. Further investigation into Moore's background revealed a criminal record and a prohibition on possessing firearms. This detail reinforced the dangerous nature of his actions and raised questions about how he'd obtained the weapon used in both the murder of Ayalew Wondimu and Denise Middleton. Despite all the questions, with the evidence gathered and the information obtained, the police were determined to ensure that justice was served swiftly for the two victims, Ayalew Wondimu and Denise Middleton. Recognizing the urgency of the case, the authorities expedited the legal process, and Tory Moore was scheduled to stand trial on Monday, December 12, 2022. In light of the evidence gathered and the grim nature of the crimes committed by Tory Moore, the police expanded the charges against him. In addition to the charges previously filed in relation to the murder of Ayalew Wondimu, Moore now faced further charges pertaining to the death of Denise Middleton and her unborn child. Additionally, Moore faced a crime of violence against a pregnant person charge, acknowledging the vulnerability of Denise Middleton during her pregnancy and the deliberate act of violence committed against her. The suspect was transported to the Montgomery County Police Headquarters, advised of his Miranda rights, and interviewed. The suspect confessed to going to the store in question, engaging in an altercation with the store clerk, and shooting him. However, when asked about Denise, Moore denied killing her. His earlier confession was inadmissible in court because it was made before he was read his Miranda rights. The affiant asked Moore to recount the circumstances surrounding Denise Middleton's death. According to Moore, he traveled to New York City in order to bring Denise Middleton back to Maryland. When asked to specify the time frame, Moore mentioned that he'd left for New York right after he contacted the Montgomery County Police about a vandalism incident involving his apartment door. It was revealed through Montgomery County Police records that he'd filed the report on May 12, 2022. Moore then stated that shortly thereafter, he and Denise had returned from New York City to Silver Spring. On the day of Denise Middleton's death, which wasn't stated, they'd left the apartment to get food. According to Moore, an argument had ensued between him and Denise on their way back to the apartment.
The female who was found inside of the apartment, and that there had been some type of fight between the two about 1 month prior to that led to the victim becoming deceased.
He stated that he'd pushed her down in front of his apartment residence. He claimed that Denise had acted as if he was trying to kill her. He then instructed her to get off the ground and stop putting on a show. He added that Denise was still agitated when they reached the residence. Moore mentioned that a slap might have been thrown and he might have choked her a little. After that, he and Denise had entered the bedroom where he tried to calm her down. Moore then left the apartment to purchase some marijuana and returned within an hour to find Denise deceased. When asked if she had any gunshot wounds or other injuries, Moore expressed uncertainty. Additionally, Moore claimed that Denise was pregnant and had informed him that the baby belonged to him. He stated that the baby was due in October and that it was a boy. However, Moore continued to deny having killed Denise Middleton. Furthermore, he mentioned that a few days after discovering Denise's body, he traveled to California and stayed there for over a month. He'd only recently returned to Maryland in his residence. However, despite Moore's accounts and claims, the evidence collected, including witness statements and other proof, made it highly unlikely for Moore to be released from the accusations. The police and prosecution had substantial evidence against him, strengthening the case for his involvement in both murders. Moore's criminal history, including arrests for armed robbery, first and second-degree assaults, robbery with a deadly weapon, kidnapping, narcotics possession with intent to distribute, and loaded handgun on his person, highlighted his violent tendencies. The police also obtained the aggravated assault report filed on June 2, 2022 by Denise from the Norfolk Police. The first trial for Moore took place on Monday, December 12, 2022, at the District Court in Rockville in Montgomery County. However, the trial was continued pending his mental health evaluation. After a review of the report from the Office of Court-Ordered Evaluations and Placements within the Department of Health, Justice Amy Bills ruled that Moore was not competent to stand trial. A preliminary hearing was scheduled for January 6, 2023. Moore appeared in court for additional hearings concerning his mental state on December 15th and December 19th of 2022. In all these hearings, he was deemed unfit for trial. State's Attorney John McCarthy expressed concerns about Moore being a danger to himself and others if released into the community, leading to his detention in police custody without bond. Moore's request for release to pretrial services was also denied by a judge. However, Temptress Middleton expressed her disappointment in an interview. She said, "He's not incompetent at all. I don't believe he's incompetent to stand trial because he was able to tell the cops what he did to her and why." Despite the ongoing pain experienced by the two families, the case remains unresolved. However, there is a possibility that the case might come to a conclusion soon. Moore's fate will be determined after he completes a mental health program and has another competency hearing. Do you believe Moore's mental instability is enough for him to escape prison bars? What sort of justice do you believe Wondimu, Denise, and the unborn baby deserve? We'd love to hear from you. To share your suggestions in the comment section below. For more captivating true crime stories, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to ring the bell notification. Stay tuned to M7 Crime Story Time for more content. Until next time.